We are live. And as I was saying, Mike Miles, the one and only, is here with me tonight. I'm so grateful. Man, the way I see this guy, he was in the jungle with a machete, chopping down trees, literally paving the path for the rest of us. We have a pioneer of the industry on the call. If you guys don't know, Mike was one of the original GoLive educators, and I believe the original GoLive educator, right? He's one of the founders of the Trade House. And like I said, he's paved the way for thousands of people, including myself. And I remember the first time I got to really meet Mike. The very first time I met Mike, it was in a hotel room in Vegas. He probably doesn't even remember me. I was that kid in the corner that was too scared to talk. I like was starstruck. But I remember the first time we actually got to have a conversation. We were sitting down in Fort Lauderdale with a big group of people just hanging out. And, I always known Mike was one of those guys that just saw life differently. But hearing him in that setting, hearing him in a more of a formal setting where just hearing him speak his experience and his outlook and his views on life, I still to this day that conversation sits with me from Fort Lauderdale. And every convention since, I've managed to find him in a situation where we're able to just kind of go at it and talk about some crazy stuff. And I know everyone who's been a part of those conversations in the past with Mike, you just get an extreme and a tremendous amount of value. Am I right or am I right? Drop some sevens in the chat for our man, Mike Miles, the one and only, the CEO of Forex. Mike,
Oh my goodness.
man.
Oh my Lord.
How you doing, man? How you feeling?
I'm great, man. Jordan, thank you so much, bro. I mean, I don't think I remember the Vegas, but I definitely do remember Fort Lauderdale. And um, getting those types of experiences are always, something that is an absolute pleasure for me too, because there is a lot of them, but I remember a lot of them as well. And um watching just again the transition from from where they started, like either that's, I mean, there's people that will show up to those things that are literally started last week and they just somehow found themselves to a convention or something, or people that have been in, like for a year or whatever, and that's their, their first time having those types of experiences. It's really a pleasure to me, and this is something I say all the time, which is I I guess people always just try to say that it's my information or that I'm any kind of thing like that. And I don't ever want it. I'm just a messenger of information. It's not my information. And so, again, really, the thanks is always with me that other people are willing to give the information a chance to actually be heard, to be a part of this entire experience. I mean, without everybody here, the world can't change. So, camaraderie between all of us is, again, truly what I'm most thankful for. So, I'm doing great, by the way, bro. I'm doing fantastic.
That's great to hear, man. You enjoying the new whip?
Yes, I
Have you
yes, I am.
yet? Have you topped it out yet?
No, for engines like that, it unlocks. So like right now it red lines at 3,500 RPMs.
Mhm.
After you get past 500 miles, that's when the RPMs scale back to 6,500. So I'm only really getting like half the engine right now because it has to, the engine's brand new, so it's got to be broken. And so literally the car will start redlining and shift gears at 3,500. So I was going 130 and I literally did not even know. I mean, it felt so natural. The car. Okay. All right. So I guess I'll keep this part just as extremely simple. My grandpa, when I was 3 years old, would sit me in his Corvette and he would put my hands on the steering wheel like this. I literally have a vivid memory, and he did it a couple of times throughout my life as well. But ever since then, it has always been the quintessential car for me above everything else. It was always the Corvette for me. And so to have it now, even when I was driving it on the way back from Vargas's house tonight, and it's just it still really hasn't sunk in, because it's not just a car to me. It's the childhood dream bucket list, one of the ones that have been on there the longest. So it's again, it's a lot to take in, because pretty much again my entire life I have wanted one. And that's just, yeah, the to actually have it, is crazy.
Oh man, I'm so happy for you. That's exciting. It's like one of those things when your mentors is doing that and you're like, this is the guy I learned from. So I know one day I'll be doing that for me. We're not here
Absolutely.
but I'm the audio
That
rate.
that is one thing I did want to say about it is one of the net positives that from because people have been, hitting me up and, talking to me about it and stuff. And, just to even hear that again, really one of my favorite things about it is that, and I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal here egotistically. I'm just saying that anybody can point to me as the billboard and say, if he can do it, I can do it. It's that much more possible to get to. And so the belief that it is installing, not just within myself, but for everybody, because this is what I have been telling people, and I'll tell everybody here, guys, it's not me. It's not, Jason Brown, Matt Rosa, Emery, Darwin, any of them. It's just the people that stayed consistent. Consistency, again, as a social confirmation, that's what that is. And that's again what I just always want people to make sure of is that if you literally stick with the same vision against all odds, you get different results. That's what it is.
Sheesh. Sheesh. Yeah, I hope y'all are taking notes. Like, guys, these aren't just conversations for entertainment. I mean, we have a good time here. Mike, I'm so glad you're here in the sesh. I know we've had a lot of calls like this, but yeah, guys, if you're not taking notes, you're missing out. You're really playing yourself. And so I want to jump right in, man. I know we could probably talk about cars. We could talk about BS all day long, but I did want to have
Yeah.
a bit of a theme to this
Yeah.
conversation. And
Yeah.
obviously, the title is cryptocurrencies. So I'm gonna start it off with this, man. I mean, everybody loves Bitcoin. I think we all enjoy Bitcoin, but what do you got your eyes on in the market outside of Bitcoin? What are you looking at for altcoins if you are or you're not?
Well, I am, but I'm not as well because right now, a lot of investments have just been going towards more recently sandbox, and obviously just virtual property on things. And then also, of course, NFTs are, I mean, they're ridiculous right now. So a lot of, really, at least more recently, that's where a lot of my focus has been, as opposed to, I mean, just to name off, I guess all of the easy ones as well, just XRP, Bitcoin. Even still, I do look at Dogecoin. I don't really mess with it, of course, but um, a lot of just, I guess, a lot of the major ones in terms of again, the altcoins. There's definitely a lot of work that goes, or at least the work that I put into researching them. Always just one of the keys objectives that I'm looking for is that if they're there, what do they solve? And that's always a wonderful question. Like anybody can make something like Dogecoin, like me and you, Jordan, could create another coin right now, but if it doesn't solve anything or it doesn't have any kind of quintessential value to people in some kind of way with what it of course does with blockchain and into the entire other space with all of it, then it's not something I would really be looking at. But yeah, Tron, I was looking at Tron, but it's not really one that I'm too hyped about. I was, but then me and Jordan had a conversation about it. So, or me and Jordan Morgan, I'm sorry, had a conversation about it. And um, yeah, just really keeping my eyes right now on the main ones, and of course NFTs and virtual property.
Oh yeah. I think there's a lot of nuggets in what you just said, guys. Like you don't have to go crazy and like try to understand the whole market, and you just keep it simple with the top. And once you understand, like you're good with that. And I kind of like curious, like what do you make of all of the hype going on in the market? Like where are your feelings with like where we're at and just the emotional market cycle? And because I think everyone's wondering, it's going crazy, right? But like how much longer can it go, right? Like where are we at with the emotional market cycle for you?
Yeah. So I'm gonna play a video here really quick, and
Let's go.
it's about game. It's really quick. It's only about the whole video is 2 minutes and 39 seconds, but I'm not gonna play the whole thing. It's more or less just a clip, but it's a news article. If you've been on my stream, I play it every once in a while, but actually just no context. Let me just show you what my perception is to answer that question. This is, I'll elaborate after it, but let me just show you.
Drop it.
Another
So
roller coaster day
again,
for GameStop. The
GameStop, remember all that, guys?
dropped a whopping 44% as small online investors ran into a roadblock in their trading war with Wall Street short sellers. Basically, big investors were trying to make money by betting the stock price would
Yeah,
drop.
so she obviously, you know, she's just explaining shorting, but really the last bit of this, and I'm going to play it on repeat just a couple of times, but it's right after this right here. After this guy, it's the last guy.
But the anti-Wall Street sentiment that drove this, that is not going away.
The people that were putting stuff on Reddit, they outsmarted Robinhood and the stock market. And
that is not going away.
The people that were putting stuff on Reddit, they outsmarted Robinhood and the stock market. The people that were putting stuff on Reddit, they outsmarted Robinhood and the stock market.
So what he's just saying there is that, again, this is a little bit of an example, but it's going to cascade into, again, even the market hype around right now. You can probably tell that that person, whoever that is, I'm not necessarily speaking to the individual, to that person, but just in general, he literally just said that the people of Reddit came together and completely shorted the market, and that Wall Street and Robinhood were upset, and that's the bigger picture. Wall Street's not an entity. Wall Street can't be upset. It is a street in New York City. Robinhood is a company. The company literally cannot be upset. But beyond that, if we were even to follow that story that happened there, it was a $5 billion loss is the number that that's the number that I saw the most, was a $5 billion loss to Wall Street. We all know how much Forex moves in a day, right? $5 billion is nothing, nothing at all. Even if I granted what their story said is true, it's nothing, because what they have accomplished with that GameStop, and again, with the hype, because it's not just even with cryptos, the indices are just making all-time highs every single day. Every single day, US 30, SPX, and then there are so many things that every single day they're more or less making all-time highs. And it was kind of the same little situation here with GameStop, is that they are literally more or less trolling everyone, because no army of internet people came together to create a bunch of accounts on Robinhood, actually put money into these broker accounts, and actually committed to the short of games, or, you know, to the opposite, to the buying of GameStop. That doesn't exist. It never did. But the media narrative is that, again, a bunch of people came together and we beat Wall Street, we the people kind of thing. It's a farce. It's a fallacy. These people control and not manipulate, they orchestrate the markets. They are the liquidity providers. They know exactly what is going on, because even if, again, it costed them $5 billion, it wouldn't, you know, that's literally nothing. So my point is that the media bias that is going on right now is abysmal. It's crazy. Because with all of the moves, and of course, with all of the highs and everything that everything is making right now, it can absolutely continue to go 100%. Because in my opinion, I don't think Bitcoin buyers, for example, are closing trades. I mean, of course, there are plenty that are. But for the people that aren't really traders, they got in at, I don't care if it was 30K, 40, 50, or even 60K. I would be willing to bet that a ton of them aren't getting out of Bitcoin, because of course it just keeps going up, right? So why would they close their trades? They're just gonna make more and more and more and more and more, and just creating buyer euphoria. They can hold trillions of dollars in drawdown. They can literally send this to the moon if they wanted to. Really, they honestly could. Just like something like Brexit, for example. If you can go onto any GBP chart and you can see the Brexit candles, it's the same thing. There could be, and in my opinion, yes, I do think that there's going to be a massive correction, because there are so many imbalances at so many different price levels on Bitcoin alone, for example. There is so much, and it's layered. You can just see it. And there's just so many, because of course, all it does is go up right now, right? So nothing can, of course, do that forever. And so, yeah, the media bias is unbelievable right now.
Okay. Yeah. I think I mean, so if I'm getting you right, you're saying we're pretty much already in euphoria. Like we're there. We're at that. We're in the final stages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like what you other said with like the Dogecoin thing, um, I was kind of getting like the sense that you were saying that that whole story was almost like some bait for the people
Yes.
to think that
Yes.
they could take down Wall Street, that they could take down.
Take down Wall Street.
Right.
The easiest example, imagine playing Call of Duty against the creators of Call of Duty.
It's
They
the
can do whatever they want. They could
Right.
turn on invincibility just because, again, they have control of the game. Therefore, you can't kill. How do you even expect to beat
And
them?
so,
They are the moderators.
right. And so are you then tying that to saying that like you would view Bitcoin as like the greatest bait of all?
Yes.
I'm saying that like people are thinking that by buying Bitcoin that they're going to take down the system. And so
Well, I mean, yeah, because absolutely there has to be. Okay, so I see what you're saying. There has to be that transitional change because they can, there's that move, but that there's something like that that absolutely can happen. But the reason why I would say not the opposite of what you just said, but nobody knows where Bitcoin came from, of course.
Right.
And so that's always a wonderful thing to remember as well. It just all clicked for me. Me and you had this conversation in person. I remember that now. I mean, I really remember all of that. And that's what I, even said to you then was that if you had the keys to the kingdom, if you owned the monetary system, anybody in here, like everybody that's listening to this, think for a second. If you had the keys to the kingdom, would you allow something like Bitcoin to threaten your power? If you had the utmost ability to do whatever, would you allow something like that to again end your control? Because money is control. And so again, and so I guess maybe a little bit of the opposite of the sentimental bias. Anything that is any kind of currency. Now, blockchain is different. Currency is the problem for the human race. This is a much bigger conversation, guys. And we're not going to stay here. I'm just saying that the answer to that a little bit more is that on a much bigger conversation, we do not need monetary systems in the world. That's a contrivance that was made. Human beings we did not create this physical reality to have money, right? And to be able to gauge one another based off of how much money is made versus not. So again, much bigger conversation, but Bitcoin and the solutions that it brings is definitely, one of my favorite things about it, because just to again, put it simply, because I answer questions very long. They had the internet. Guys can go look this up. They had the internet in World War II. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs did not give us the internet. They gave us companies called Microsoft and Apple. They got put on because again, Jeff Bezos is not the richest person in the world. If you think Jeff Bezos is the wealthiest person, or Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or Zuckerberg or any of them, they've got you right where they want you.
Definitely, bro. This is exactly why I wanted to have you here, is to like be able to potentially recreate those conversations. And like really my goal with these is just to put an idea into someone's head that makes them go, what? And like, because I think those kind of conversations and those lines of questioning really, when you dig deep and like questioning what your reality is, who you are, why we're here, I think that's where the biggest breakthroughs come in. And it's always interesting getting all these perspectives, and especially yours. Like, obviously, like I respect your opinion so much on the matter, and that's the kind of I do want to take this conversation there. And I really wanted to like bring up the age-old question I think me and you have been conversing about for the last couple of years, on the chances we've got to meet up, and like not just like your opinion of who Satoshi is, because I think, I don't know if that was Mike Neverett that said Satoshi is CIA, or if that was you, Mike, but
no, it wasn't me. Oh, yeah, probably
Mike is in here, but
oh.
I watch this one TikTok sometimes. I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but like it's with Japanese words. Like Hulu is a Japanese word for like entertainment, I believe. And they were taking a bunch of brands and putting the Japanese and translating them. And they were saying Satoshi Nakamoto in Japanese translated is intelligence agency. And so this is a
And
random thing, but
no, it's not random. That is, you see my point? How
yeah,
many people are shorting? How many people? Everybody's an expert in bullish. It's bulls. I mean, it's like it literally, the answer's right here in front of all of our faces. And it's like, again, why again? This is always my argument. If you were in control and you were all about domination and you wanted to rule the world, because that's their objective, right? It's about domination. It's not about them making money. They print money. They don't need money. They want control. Well, how do you do that? With the monetary system. So again, a threat, like let's step on that side for a second. If Bitcoin was truly, I guess the overwhelming bias of what it is, that would be a huge problem for them. And in my opinion, and well, not even I can present evidence as well that I consider empirical, but they don't control one side. They have control over both sides of the ball. Just like like all the world wars, they were on both sides. It's not Republican versus Democrat. They're both. It's whoever we can point to and say they're the ones that are in power. They're in power for a reason. They were put on by this, the complex, I guess you could say, is what, put simply. It might sound conspiracy theorist, but once we actually start getting real in conversations, there's no avoiding that, because the word even conspiracy theory came from the CIA. Does anybody know where the CIA came from? What year? Guess what year? Can anybody tell me? Don't look. Can anybody in here tell me what year the CIA was established? No? Well, it was immediately after World War II. Because what happened in World War II? Yeah, Hitler, Nazis, all of that. What do you guys think happened to all of the Nazi scientists and all of those people that were conducting all of those experiments and doing everything? They didn't get lined up and executed. America hired them, and the CIA was founded the very next year. Not, of course, by mistake. I mean, it's literally declassified. This isn't a theory. They literally, it's as clear as day. The best way to hide a lie, or the best way to hide a lie, is in plain sight. And again, if I was that type of individual, they could create the woke people bias by something like Bitcoin. And then therefore they have extension or control over the people that think that they're breaking out of the matrix. This is why I hate being called woke, because that's just another culture that they have created, like jocks or, goth people or, whatever, right? All these little subgroups of people. Woke is another one. And again, they don't just control their side of the ball. They control what information we even learn about. Have y'all seen Thrive? The Thrive, it's a movie I've talked about it 100 times. Okay, well, do y'all know who made Thrive? He's literally like the narrator, Bob, Foster Gamble, right? Do y'all know Gamble? Do y'all know what that is? That's the Procter, a family company. They're a super family. So even something like Thrive, even though the information is of course important, I personally push everybody through through Thrive and make sure people watch it. But that doesn't mitigate the fact that it's coming from them. They control even the information we learn about. Think much bigger, because they are the people that we're talking about, guys. They're not stupid idiots. They are geniuses that hide and hoard information and wisdom and awareness. They know they have control over everything. And so again, my whole point is that we're not dealing with ignorant, stupid people that aren't making decisions correctly. In fact, they're making so good of decisions that they're, again, controlling both sides of the ball. It's crazy.
5D chess, and like I kind of have something new to bring to that whole conversation of like where Bitcoin comes from, because I think, will we ever know? No, we won't. It's it's anonymous. I think it'll stay that way. And if we did know, and like Zach put that out last week, it was like, if we did know, what would it change? But I think what's more important, what sparked from my mind from our conversation last week, what I had with Zach, was like, it doesn't really matter who created it, but I think what's much more important is the intention behind creating it. And I know we've talked about it as like an intention of, like you just said, of it being a false hope. But also, you know, with what I've seen with the world and things, it's like I kind of have maybe a slight possibility in my mind that this is the intention was to reset the system, and right. And if they had to reset the system, well, what would they put in place of it? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's why Bitcoin doesn't answer the true human problem, which is again money.
Yeah.
So, absolutely, I absolutely agree with that. That they could just get us off what we call the U.S. dollar, and then all of us could be using Bitcoin, and nothing would change. So, absolutely, just in that regard. But if being in the optimistic sense of looking at the positives, because I remember, we've got I I appreciate, Jordan, I appreciate that. I promise you, it's a debate. It's not like, oh,
Mhm.
you're stupid and I'm right, you're wrong. Like, no, it's actual like traverse of, information. That's the point. And so, until I have just seen it time and time and time and time again of where else they are doing this. And so much so that it's almost like I'm buried in an avalanche of the demonstration of their control. If we can't go to Antarctica, which we can't, by the way, because it's protected by the US, the United Nations, that was also founded the same year the CIA was made, because they figured out something down there. It's not just, penguins and ice, because if it was, they wouldn't give a shit, or I'm sorry, they wouldn't care if anybody went down there. There's something down there worth hiding, right? So if we don't know the person who originated Bitcoin, what could change if that's what I would like to actually have exposed, is that if people, found out that it was just them, what's that quote that goes around? I'm sure somebody in here knows it. If somebody found out who created Bitcoin, it would just collapse. I don't remember who that quote. I don't even remember exactly how the quote goes, but it goes around because again, that's them. That's what I would do. Create problem reaction solution. What is the problem? The problem is the debt, the monetary system, blah blah blah. We give the reaction, they give us the solution. They do this over and over and over. It's called the Helgen dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. And so, absolutely, this could just be, and in my opinion, I'm, in my opinion, it is just another one, because if I had the keys to the kingdom, I wouldn't allow something like that to happen. Tesla, guys, right? Y'all all know um, Nikola Tesla. What did they do to him? Do y'all know what happened to his lab? And when he cured cancer and fixed energy, they literally burned down his research, all of it. They got rid of it. And what they couldn't take from him, they copyrighted it.
Jeez.
So, I mean, it's that bad.
I know there's so many people here right now that are probably like, what kind of conversation did I just walk into? And I'm so glad you guys are here. If you guys are lost, if you guys are overwhelmed, if you're feeling some type of way, it's okay. Because this information we're talking about
You're
tonight is
supposed
really
to.
exactly, exactly, exactly. And that kind of was one question. That's literally the follow-up question I had too. What I just said before is like, do you think crypto has the potential to replace fiat?
Yes. Why
Mm,
not? I mean, but then again, and this is kind of my whole point, it's been doing this since the 70s. Credit cards are crypto. We've
mm,
had crypto since the 70s. Like, it's not new. Blockchain is new. Blockchain is new. So again, the applications, all that, yes, 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 yes. But the idea of, again, an electronic currency has existed for a very, very long time. It's not new. And so, again, credit cards, that, like, that, we already are in that space. And so, yeah, if you want to call it this or if you want to call it that, I mean, it in my opinion, guys, with all of the pumping that is going on Bitcoin right now, let's put this in a price action understanding. What they did in the Great Depression in the United States, the 1929 financial crash, and this is again stuff you guys can go look up, because again, they did this during the Great Depression. What they did was that they deliberately crashed the market. Why? Because then they swallowed everything up. Because of course they had money. The crash didn't matter. Oh, by the way, this happened in 2008 as well. If you guys have not seen the movie The Big Short, you must watch The Big Short, because it literally explains what I'm explaining right here. I'm just using the stock market example. They crashed it on purpose, bailed themselves out, and bought everything up. So again, the same thing that, again, the housing crisis, it's not like they didn't know what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were. If you guys have seen the movie, the conversation is with Steve Carell and the CFO manager at dinner. And then, like he really starts to understand how unbelievably, how bad it is, like how bad this situation has really, really become. The financial system that we, again, are trying to emancipate away from, to get away from, of course, offer a solution, because then again, we can have control over the woke people and the ball keeps rolling
And
for
people don't
them.
really realize like how transparent Bitcoin is. Like Bitcoin is fully public. It's fully transparent. You can't hide in the Bitcoin blockchain. I mean, there's other blockchains out there like Monero that do offer that privacy. And what do you think about those kind of blockchains? Have you looked into like privacy coins like Monero? Do you think that's a threat at all to like the system you've been talking about?
Yeah, I mean, peer to peer is one thing, but I'm sorry. The other thing that I did want to add, and it even follows suits into that, is that since the price action is so bullish right now, if they deliberately crash the market on Bitcoin, they're going to swallow all of it up. If not right now, who owns the majority of the most Bitcoin right now? Y'all have heard stories kind of throughout the past year and a half, 2 years, of banks starting to accept Bitcoin. Yeah, I know for a fact Chase Bank at this might have been 2017 or 2018, they were firing employees for buying crypto. Whereas, of course, Chase themselves, the actual entity, is just, I mean, they don't care, guys. You think they give it? They care? They could care less if they're paying $20 for a coin, $20,000 for a coin, or $200,000 per coin, because again, they can just print whatever they want. They can, it doesn't matter. So, however much money people make here is irrelevant to them. This is the buyer euphoria. So, once that happens, whether it happens again tonight or in 10 years from now, they can do it whenever they want, because again, they have that type of inherent control. But peer-to-peer kind of transactions as well, blockchain, and what blockchain can do, like we could have blockchain internet. Like right now, the NSA is able to listen. This entire conversation is being recorded, and every single person who's here with me right now, you are forever imprinted with me, because if I'm ever looked or researched for, your IP address is now connected to me forever. And so therefore there's a little line in from my bubble to your bubble and to every single one of us. Every single one of us are now inevitably connected together in mass data. So they have, that entire sense. So blockchain internet, for example, could mitigate something like that. But again, the internet did not start in the 80s or whatever people, typically like to believe. It all started a lot longer ago.
Well, if you do get taken down, man, I'm gonna go down with you. I'd love to. I'd love to be.
Oh, I'm not dying in a bed. I've known for a long
Dude.
time.
I say the same thing. And like, dude, I remember when in Puerto Rico, if you guys were there, that was kind of crazy. And at one point I thought like we were literally gonna have to squat up outside a building somewhere and like start a protest for you, because like, that was nuts. But just know, bro, you have an army. You have an army behind you. You have an army of people that like are like, yeah, dude, we're
No, let them take me down and let me martyr. I don't mind being the martyr. Guys, my value goes down when I give the information. I'm meaningless. So like if you want to put me here and you're here, just as an example, the more I pour out, the more yours gets filled. It's about being even. The imbalance is the problem. This is why, again, I'm always more thankful for, for experiences like this. And Jordan, thank you for putting this together, because this could be that conversation for somebody that changes their life forever. We have no idea the impact and the ripple effect of what's going to happen. So again, how do I really accomplish what it is that I want? Is by, situations like this. I'm always so much more thankful. I promise you guys, it's not my information. Let them kill me, because like you said, they have an army. There's an army of people behind me that know what I know. Screw me. I forget me. I give it all away. That's the reason why I know that they're going to kill me. They kill people that don't shut up about it. I know it. I mean, Michael Jackson, Kennedy, Lenin,
Mm,
Jesus, Martin Luther King. They
mm.
kill people that speak truth.
What a goal. What a fucking goal, man. Dude, that's literally why I admire you so much. Holy cow. Jeez.
We are what we do, guys. We're a threat. We because this how do we break this all, guys? How do we actually break the monetary system? Whether we have millions of dollars or millions of bitcoins, it doesn't matter. Everybody have an abundance of money, then it doesn't matter. You can break capitalism requires money. Capitalism requires the workforce. Well, there ain't going to be a workforce, somebody working at the gas station or at the Walmart or getting your Amazon packages to your house if, again, everybody has an abundance of money. The world will change. And we're seeing to that. We're the threat.
What do you see? Where do you see the world going, man? Where do you let's like let's stretch it out. I mean, let's stretch it out to the point where you think like those sort of things start to actually change. What does that world look like to you?
Um, Cancer's gone. Energy problems are gone. There isn't like random third world. There isn't even a thing as a third world country anymore. Everybody gets immediate sustainable energy. Everybody immediately starts getting fed. Everybody immediately stops going through public indoctrination and immediately starts getting into real education. Everybody stops, suffering, because the suffering of the world happens because of profit, money. Money is anything, the idea, the concept of money creates I'm rich, you're poor.
Mm,
It is an imbalance and it will always be that way because, again, we do not need money. It can, and if you want to ask about like the society, like what would society, it can be favor based. Like your next question will be, well, who gets the Toyota and who gets the Lamborghini? That depends on the amount of effort and value that you pour into other people. Everybody will have, their basic essentials like energy, housing and things like that, because again, that could all happen. There's billions of pounds that are of food that are thrown away because you can't profit off of it. So therefore, we could absolutely feed everybody in the world. The world is not overpopulated. That is all a scam. Absolutely, we could do that. There's more than enough sustainable energy. We don't need oil. We don't need fossil fuels. We don't need any of that. That's another scam. They create the idea that there's not enough oil because, of course, they control oil. So the energy gets fixed, cancer, diseases all get fixed, all of those kinds of problems. And then we actually start evolving and growing into a much higher version of the human race. And if you, again, still don't understand, back before 1954, the human race believed that it was impossible to run a mile in under 4 minutes. It was literally science concluded that a human being could not run a mile in less than 4 minutes. And then in 1954, one person did it. And then when that story broke out into the world, subsequently 700 other people also did it within that same year. And then you fast forward to today, it's the standard. So literally the standard of the Olympics or any kind of running sport where you have to be, if you're not running a mile in less than 4 minutes, you're not being looked at, right? Because everybody else can run a mile in under 4 minutes. If you can't do that, you're not going to be looked at. So the standard today was considered an impossibility 100 years ago. That's the kind of shift that I'm talking about, because we do not achieve what we consider to be impossible. We consider what we decide is possible and then achieve it. And so again, we do not create abundance, guys. We create limits. We draw lines in the sand and say, this is what's possible, until we, of course, decide, no, I can do that. Just like with the Corvette, right? People, it's still like everybody wants to be chairman. Everybody wants what we have, right? And they'll always say that. But then when you see it, or when you, again, can see something like that, it installs the belief to where, well, if Mike can do it, I can do it. So therefore, it's no longer within out of bounds, and now it's in bounds. Now you can get to it. That's the point. And we can absolutely continue that transition because, again, we do not need money. We were not born here to make money.
That's, sheesh, I got goosebumps, man. I got goosebumps when you were going in on that. And I think I talked to my brother and my sister and my girlfriend about this, like people closest to me. And it's like, I'm with you there. I think I believe in everything you just said, but part of me is like also like what's it going to take to get us there? You know, is that, I know it's possible, but I'm also like trying to be a realist in the sense of like, is that possible for our lifetime? What do you think about that?
Yeah. The 6-year-old company, let's just speak about our company. In 6 years, we already have top 5 of the top 10 network marketing earners, right? Okay, give this company 15 more years, we'll have the top 100 spots. Like, screw just the top 10 because of what happens here. We're teaching people how to print money. How do you break the system from the inside out? Everybody makes so much money. Go, chairman, do this right here. I'm not kidding you. Like, how do we break the system? Guys, Christopher Terry, what he created here, and I say this all the time, and this is what I heard in 2016 and what my brain convinced, it's, you know, what my brain told my brain back in 2016. I will never forget the day, what I was wearing, the shower I took, the food I ate, the weather, where I was standing in the trade house at that time. It became this simple. We literally are learning how to make money for ourselves trading. And then on top of that, you get paid to show other people how they can free themselves as well. And not just a little bit of money, the most money that any company has ever seen ever. It is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I can't, like, again, when that hit me, when that thought, because you guys can hear me, I'm telling you, you guys can hear what I'm saying, but you might not be listening with your belief systems. When you believe that, because when it hit me, my jaw dropped. I stopped. I literally was frozen in time because I could not believe what I had found. Where else can you guys go and get what we have? Where? What other company has, do you guys just, I mean, he announced chairman 10 million. Okay, well, let's not even talk about $10 million because that just obliterates this argument. $750,000 a month. What other company pays that? Name one. Name one. Literally, any company. I mean, like, yeah, of course, the shareholders maybe. And of course, like Jeff Bezos, like, that's not a company though. That's Jeff Bezos making that money. There's no one in Amazon that even comes close to the amount of money and the amount of value of shares that he has, because most of his fortune, of course, is because of Amazon stocks. If y'all guys didn't know that, but I'm just saying that where else can we, I mean, this is why I do what I do, guys. Why I'm always in front of a camera, why I've been streaming, why GoLive was even created. Yes, I am the original educator. Why? Because of this right here. How do we change the world? Eviscerate the system from the inside out. How does that happen? Teach people legitimate things. Do not scam them. Do not steal money from people. Don't do any of that. Legitimately give everybody the sauce for free. Everything. Whatever you know, give it all away. As I personally, you guys want to know how to go Chairman 100, for example? I don't charge people for anything, for example, because I have no expectation of return. I will pour and pour and pour and pour, because in order to get, you must give. And so I give whatever I have with no expectation of return. Because in order for my life to have blessings like the car, my dream, my little boy dream car now that is sitting in my driveway that I've had for 2 days, it's not like I don't know how I got there. I know exactly the sacrifices and the decisions that I made specifically on certain days. I know where the trajectory of my life took me out of my Toyota Scion, my Scion TC to a Corvette. It's not confusing to me. It's a decision that you make in your mind, because it is a belief. And I say this all of the time. What we have here, guys, this is not a business opportunity for just strictly speaking on our company. This is a solution. It is a solution. It's not an opportunity, bro. Let's all go work and stuff. No, it's, do you want freedom or not? That's how I see it. Period. Because I don't care how long it takes anybody in here to see, even just in trading as well. Like, you can absolutely not go chairman. You could be a platinum, nothing. You can be a customer and absolutely achieve the same thing through trading. Are you going to do it or not? The universe is binary, black or white, yes, no, right or wrong, up, down, pick one. And inevitably you learn how to manage yourself and learn how to do all this, or the universe puts a thing in your life that we call bosses to manage you for you. Either way, you choose. You learn to manage yourself, or the universe manages you for you. And of course, is it worth it? I shouldn't even. Yes,
Hey, the price of
absolutely.
everything you want
But be
is
ready for the
everything you have.
price. There's a price, and you will pay the price, just like we all do. We were taught lies, guys. We were taught lies on purpose. We don't understand money on purpose. When you do, you make a commitment to your entire life changing. And that, the pleasure that comes along with it. Again, I know exactly the price that I paid for that Corvette that's sitting out in the driveway, and my truck, because I got the Chevy. It's not just my Corvette, I got my Chevy Silverado as well. And I've always wanted my Chevy garage ever since I was a little boy, because every male in Texas has a truck. Every male figure in my family always had a truck. That's why I got a truck first, and now I got a vet. I happened because of the cost, because of the price. The price for everything you want is everything you have. I promise you.
That bro, that quote is seared in my brain. That one's seared in my brain, and man, I just love hearing you go off on that. I want to bring up a really good question from the chat, from Pedro. And I think he's kind of referring back to what we were talking about before with, um, them having so much control over what happens and what doesn't. And he posed a really good question. I'd love to hear your kind of response to it. Is
Let me go back up into the chat.
Yeah, I'll read it out for everybody here. Why would they allow IM to happen though? We all have a different dimension in this call. Let's go. But he brings up a good, yeah. I would love to hear your
why they would allow it.
Yeah.
Well, I can definitely, guys, tell you, since I've been here since the beginning of everything, I've seen literally, I can't tell you how many of the companies that are like ours that have started, and the SEC has just crushed them. They're tiny, tiny, tiny compared to ours. So I know that, that they absolutely, we're on their radar. So let's not get that twisted. They absolutely know we exist. The entire industry of network marketing, guys, knows. Because again, we have 5 of the top 10 on Forbes. And everybody in the industry knows this. So it's, first of all, definitely not a secret at all. How they could possibly go after us is changing legislation to make it illegal in some way, shape, or form. But of course, our CEO has already got us. He would just move us to a different country. So he would just do business out of a different country. So even if the states wanted to do something, he would move it to a country. And then, of course, if every country banned it, then we're going to have a lot bigger problems going on, because then that's going to be a much different conversation. But, just like the states getting rid of it, but this isn't even, again, post exactly what you asked. Why do they allow it? Is because, of course, in order for them to be able to mandate their game, they, again, are not playing on just one side of the chessboard. So they are on control of both sides. And I'm not saying, Chris Terry's a part of them or anything, because at least as far as I know, he's not. But again, yes, we are opposition to them, but they can't, end everything. For the same exact reason is, we could take out the question of IM Mastery Academy and plug in the movie The Matrix. Why did they allow the movie The Matrix to exist? It's literally like a spit, or like The Big Short, or Lucy, or 50 other movies I can name right now that deliberately just talk about what they do. And again, why did they allow it to exist? Is because they are, again, at that point of control that even for us right now, we would become a threat later. So you could almost just say we're just a small fish right now, because honestly, we are. Once we get to, 100 million people, stuff's going to happen for sure. Like, let's not get it twisted, because when you have that many people in unison, imagine this, guys, we all have a fortune. We've all learned through trading, just in a scenario, and we get on a Zoom call like this, and you're like, yo, what problem do we want to end today? And then we could just be like, we don't like the energy industry. Oh, bam. We could just release free energy for free. We don't even charge anybody for anything. We just give everybody the ability to have electricity anywhere in the world. Boom, done. Now our name's in the history books. It could be that crazy. It could be that wild, we have that much of a threat. Imagine all of us with an abundance of money moving in unison. So if it's like, hey, do you want to end like the energy crisis in Africa? Each of us could put up 10 million, 10 million, 10 million, 10 million, 10 million. And of course, 10 million to us, it's not going to mean anything because there's people in this company that make it monthly. You know what I'm saying? So again, you have a collective of people that could even take something like that 10 million, you know, obviously when that happens, of course, and then take it into the markets and turn it into 100 million. I mean, the possibilities here are unbelievable. We just with the people here, guys, if everybody legitimately learns how to trade and actually commits to learning this skill and actually even goes chairman as well, you could imagine just what you could do in any of the markets when you're getting a paycheck like $100,000 a month. Then you take something like that into the markets, and then the $100,000 a month is nothing because of what you're able to do in the markets. It's like, yo, we're talking about hacks. These are mods. It is overpowered. It needs to be nerfed. It is OP. A patch needs to happen immediately because this is way, 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 way overpowered. And those are video game terms. I'm sorry for anybody that didn't catch that.
I love it though. We're on the right side of that OP stuff.
Yeah.
And it will happen. It will be lit. Those conversations will be lit.
Yeah.
Man, this conversation, guys, sheesh. If you've like been struggling to like convey vision to people, watch this recording over and over and over and over again, guys. Like, my gosh. I'm taking notes here, guys. I hope you guys are. But I wanted to kind of shift the conversation a little bit. Kind of give some value here for our new people. You know, some of the people who are maybe first time on a call like this. You know, been in the markets for not a long time. Like I really agree with Zach. He says anybody who's less than a year is still, you know, a beginner. I'd love to hear like what has been your biggest learning lesson in the markets, just in trading, investing, the whole thing.
It's taught me that I did not have control over me as much as I even comprehended. The amount of, for lack of a better term, indoctrination of emotional control that they have over us, this like psychological control, like music, for example. Everybody knows the top 7 music, you know, with this top like 5 topics of the top Billboard 100, right? Sex, feeling good, heartbreak, anger, turning up, parties, money, those kinds of things. Those are the lowest forms of your chakra system. If you guys know what the chakra system is in your body, what's the base primal animal chakra, where it's fight or flight, your animal brain, right? It's very primitive to be satisfied, like, for example, through sexual needs. Ascension through all of the chakras inside of your body unlocks more understanding, right? They, of course, understand all of that. So the music industry, for example, is something that, again, indoctrinates people to consistently think about the same thing. Guys, if I played, you know, a song that you guys haven't heard in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, however long it's been, but then I cut it on right now, I bet you would be able to sing every word to the song that, again, you haven't heard in years, right? I could, and would be a specific song for, you know, obviously each person in here, but you can, you know, again, you can recite something that, again, you haven't heard in, you know, 5 years, but you can't remember what we did last week. Like you can't, some people can't even remember what happened earlier in the day. But again, you can just recall a song out of nowhere because it's a program inside of your mind. It is like a USB drive that got plugged into your brain, especially if you listen to the song on repeat over and over and over and over and over. My point is that what the new people need to understand is that if you can take that example and of course go verify it for yourself, because don't believe me simply off of merit, go do your own research and simply have your own experience, because don't take me, oh, it's Mike, so therefore he must be right. That's exactly what's got us into this situation, is because nobody has authority over their lives. We allow celebrities, actors, athletes to tell us what's good, what's not, all, you know, all of those different things. Our generation does not listen to politicians. We hate all of the politicians, but we do care about like what the Kardashians say, or what Kanye or Jay-Z or Drake or to, Katy Perry or Beyonce or Lady Gaga or Madonna or the Beatles even, like whatever they say is how they have control over us. That exists. My imposition to the new people is that type of control is exhibited everywhere. And the point of it is to control the mind's thoughts, what you think about, what your subconscious mind is thinking about, which is 1,000 times more powerful than the version of you I'm speaking to right now. It's the subconscious mind. And if you fill it with sex, for example, and in relationships and romance and this, and that's all you listen to, what do you think that your brain is going to be thinking about when you're not listening to that music? You're going to be horny, right? That's my point. If you're only focused on something like that, they've got you. They have you here, even within when it comes to money. Guys, the imposition is what if you have been lied to your entire life and that you have to unlearn all of the trash that we have been taught to then relearn new information that's going to be better suited to you. If you think that you know what to do in this, they've got you. Because if you did know what to do with this, if you did have the correct mindset, then why aren't you already a millionaire? Why aren't you already exactly where you want to be? If you're not, then clearly there is a limit. Clearly there is a lack of understanding somewhere. So the quicker you can accept that, and the quicker you can embrace the idea of that, I need to drop not just the ego, but like what I think I know in order to allow space in your brain to be able to accept new information. You have to be, and especially the deeper beliefs. If you do not, everybody, like, you want good results, right? Well, people think, oh, well, if I change the approach, that's going to change everything. For example, oh, gold doesn't work, so I'll go try Euro USD. Oh, no, that doesn't work, so I'm going to go try NZDJPY. Oh, well, that doesn't work, so I'm going to change the color candlesticks. Well, that didn't work either, so now I'm going to go, trade crypto. Oh, well, that didn't work either, so now I'm going to go try binary options. Well, that didn't work either, so I'm just going to go get a job. It is never all of these other things, because again, the approach that you bring, whether you do this or do that, does not change the result. The approach that you have, your beliefs, what you think about, what you talk about, what you're focused on, is what creates your approach that then inevitably fixes your results. Do not think that the devil in the details is the answer. It's us, the common denominator between all of it. The moment that you truly accept that, not just hear what I just said, accept it, your entire life will change. I promise you. Not even just with money, guys. Learning to trade can unlock it for you. It's my favorite thing about trading. You will eventually run out of excuses. It's no longer my mom's fault or this thing's fault or the broker's fault or the mentor's fault or the trading plan's fault or this. It's me. Oh shit. I need to work on myself. The quicker you can get to that is the quicker your results will change. Period. The universe could care less, guys, if you're living in a multi-million-dollar mansion or under a bridge. Pick one. And then truly pick to it. Of course, you're going to get challenged, guys. You're asking for things that people don't have. You want what the majority doesn't have? Stop doing what the majority does. And what does the majority do? Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, the whole company's a scam. Oh, trading's a scam. People literally will get a ticket from a police officer and then blame the cop for them getting a speeding ticket. Imagine the level of ignorance that we're dealing with. How is it the cop's fault when you were speeding and you got a speeding ticket because the police officer was just doing his job, doing what he's supposed to be doing? But then when that person drives away and gets to work, they are going to spend the entire day complaining about the police officer that was kind of hiding a little bit, so therefore it's his fault. The assumption of responsibility, the assumption of the blame, the assumption of everything is what is required. The moment that you start assuming responsibility when it's no longer excuses or anybody else's fault is the moment you change. Because I promise you guys, trading works. The market literally goes up or down. Do not turn this into rocket science. It's buy or sell, blue or red. Yeah. And then if you manage what goes on, the losses, the take profits, if you know what you're going, like if you guys are trading right now and you were simply literally just buying and selling because you have no idea what you're actually going for in terms of profit on your account, what are you doing? You're just, I just want to make money. I just want to catch pips and make money. What the hell does that even mean? If you have no idea what it is that you're even going for, how can the universe even begin to possibly answer you? You're not in control. You just, I want to be a millionaire. What the hell does that even mean? Like, I want to be successful. Okay. Well, I want to make more money. Well, if you find a $5 bill on the ground, by definition, the universe answered you. That is more money. You didn't specify $5 or $500 million. So the moment you, again, assume responsibility is the moment everything will change.
Jeez, like you literally, you keep doing that, man. You keep answering the questions I'm about to ask. So I was about to ask, like, how do people, take control? I think that's what I've always got from you and your message, is it's about taking that responsibility, about taking control. One, first realizing, you're not probably in control of the things that you think you are. And then two, okay, now what do we do about that? And like a big part of that, I think that's difficult, is accepting responsibility. I love quoting Jim Rohn, and he's like, my mentor asked me, why aren't you doing well in life? And I had this big list for him. I had the government, politics, the weather, and this thing. And then his mentor told me, he said, there's a funny thing about your list. You're not on it.
Mm.
And I love that theme. And I think that's the most powerful aspect of personal development, of success, of any sort of achievement. It always comes back down to that. It's like the responsibility. Like, do you take responsibility for yourself and your life? Because if you don't, you're also giving up the ability to improve it.
Yep. Here, simple question for everybody. Go into the chat. Do you know exactly what is required to go to chairman right now, just for example, but are you willing to admit that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how to trade? You know exactly what to do, right? But you're not doing it, right? We're all human beings. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's that simple. You know what you should be doing, but in spite of that, you're not doing it. Okay. Well, the moment you start doing it and make the decision to do it, then it's no longer how the hell it's a mystery. How many times do you want to get slapped in the face before you realize you're being slapped in the face? It's a choice, guys. Because again, I'm not kidding you. It's a choice. I remember excuse. It's never me, poor me, victim, blah, blah, blah. All of it. It's all lies. The moment you are the highest form of creation walking around, we are creators. Create whatever life you want. And we do, regardless if you live under a bridge or in a mansion, that is by choice. Nothing happens to you. It happens for you. Do not think whatever you're going through is the problem. You're asking for it because you must grow in order to grow. When you go to a gym and pick heavy things up and put them down, you quite literally destroy your body. You shred your muscles. You must tear yourself down to rebuild stronger. How many ways must this get put for, and I'm not speaking at anybody in here, but it's the point. How long will you continue? Like, for all of you guys that are saying yes, if you were genuinely saying that and not just saying yes because you think that's what I want to hear, if you're genuinely being honest with yourself, that quintessential fact is the decision that needs to be made. Because if not, it's never going to happen. Period. It's not, well, maybe that call or maybe this or maybe that, maybe this strategy. No, because none of that matters. If you do not make that decision, it doesn't matter what you do. It's not going to work until you make the decision. Period. That's how this works. So if you guys can, again, be intellectually honest with yourself, you know what you should be doing. It's not like you don't know how to get a six-pack, but why don't you have a six-pack? If you want one, you know how to do it. You could get down right now and do as many crunches as you could possibly do until failure, and then do it the next day, and then do it the next day, and then do it the next day. You will have a six-pack. It's not like you didn't already know that. It's, are you going to do it?
Man, I think we just shut it down right there. That's the sauce. That's it. One last question though, just for fun. you know, and again, Mike, I'm so thankful for you to be here. I think so many here people got so much value from you. I'm sure some people's minds right now are a little fried. Like Zach Hogan said, if you like last week, if you're still stuck on what we said 30 minutes ago and you're not really here right now, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
totally okay. Yo, guys, drop some eights for my man Mike. And Mike, I have one last question for you. And this one's a fun one. It's not in all serious. How what's that number, man? What's the number? How high do you think Bitcoin can go?
I would at least, I mean, my first projection is 75, but then after, if it depends on how it gets to 75. If it gets to 75, if it busts through it, then I would be looking for a deeper tracement. But if it just gradually climbs up to 75, then I'll probably start looking at 100, at least right now. I mean, I could do that at pretty like 150, 200. I mean, we can go on and on and on about that, but at least just relevant to where price is right now. The next major price that I'm looking at is 75K.
Let's go. Best answer so far. Mike, Tim, Mike, Zach. They were too scared to answer that one. So you're the first one to give me a number.
I don't know why.
I don't know, man. Yeah, you know, I don't know. Everybody has their own opinion. I love it. I love it. I love it. But yeah, Mike, thank you so much for being here, man.
Thank you, guys.
Any last words for the audience?
Don't quit. Don't quit on yourself, not the business. I'm just saying, don't, if you give up, the person who says they can and the person who says they can't are both right.
Sheesh.
Really stop and think about it. Whether you say you can or say you can't, you're right. Make the damn choice, guys. There is no but you don't lack motivation, guys. No one in here lacks motivation. We lack understanding. We lack awareness. When you become more aware, you become aware of your faults, your problems, our problems, because they're systemic, because of course the world and the society that we come from, we all suffer from the same things. It's not your fault that the world, feels like you've always felt like the world is against you. It's your challenge. It's your challenge. It's not our fault or anything. It's your challenge to break out of the system. And whether you do it or whether you're not, the universe could care less. Pick whatever hard. It's hard to go to work every day, right? It's hard to, get up and wear a uniform and go do stuff you want to do. It's also hard to know where you're going to buy and build your next house. Choose your hard. One way or the other. But that's it for me, guys. I love you all. Thank you so much. I'll be live in 45 minutes on my channel too, for the ones that are here, if you guys want to jump on. But thank you again sincerely for your guys' time. I'm serious.
Thank you, Mike. You guys heard it right there. The CEO of Forex. That's a joke, by the way, guys. There's no such thing, but the man himself.
That's why I love it. The CEO of Forex. LOL. Like, right. Oh my God.
The CEO of Forex. That perfectly captures what we're saying, this whole conversation.
Yes.
Here it is. So with that, guys, you already know. Buy Bitcoin, short the banks. Peace out, guys.